Red Mars. Closest to Earth in our solar system. Oh, fuck, I skipped a line. Mars, the red planet. Closest to Earth in our solar system. Surely life must exist on it? Question mark? We dreamt about the builders of the canals that we could see by telescope, about ruined cities, lost Martian civilizations, the possibilities of alien contact. Then the Viking and Mariner probes went up and sent back nothing. Mars was a barren planet, lifeless, sterile, uninhabited. In 2019, the first man set foot on Mars. John Boone, American hero. In 2027, 100 of the Earth's finest engineers and scientists made the first mass landing. Their mission? To create a new world. To terraform a planet with no atmosphere, an intensely cold climate, and no magnetosphere, into an Eden, full of people, plants, and animals. It is the greatest challenge mankind has ever faced, the ultimate use of intelligence and ability, our finest dream. They're doing all that in 4 years? Yep. Elon Musk is gonna do it. We are already sacrificing as many people as we can to make this come true. Okay, so part 4. We read part 1, which was Festival Night, and it was set in the even more distant future, near distant enough. In the distant enough future is part 1 of the book, Festival Night. And at that point in time, there are no longer just 100 people on Mars. There are cities that are built and flourishing, and they have names, and they have like a couple thousand people in them. So there's like real cities. And there's one city that I think it's like they're celebrating the naming of their town or the opening of their town. I don't know, but something like that. So they're like, yay, our town. And they have a festival, and then John Boone gets murdered. And there's a race riot that is instigated by one man. Then that's part 1. And then part 2, flashback to the beginning. The first 100 are going to Mars, and it's told from the perspective of Maya, and she's a Russian, and she's drinking vodka, and she's leading the Russians to greatness again, and then she meets an American, and he's like, hey baby, let's fog up these windows in here. And then he's all like, I don't know, he fumbles the bad guys, he fumbles the hot Russian, and then she hooks up with another guy, also known as John Boone, John motherfucking Boone, Casanova, American hero, first man on Mars. And then they land on Mars and like, blah, blah, blah. And then we switch narrators again. And now the story is being told from Nadia's perspective. And Nadia is Maya's ugly best friend. Like, they're like sisters, you know? And Nadia, she does like a bunch of stuff. She's super amazing. She like basically built the whole fucking habitat. She built everything, guys. Like, even the things she didn't build, people were like, hey, Nadia, how do we build this? And then she got her hand crushed, and then she hooked up with the king of Phobos. And they were flying around in a giant air balloon, and they kissed. And they did other things that I can't mention. And then they almost fucking died. The two greatest people on Mars almost fucking died. My favorite people on Mars. Your opinions may differ, but they almost fucking died. They got caught in a storm in their stupid air balloon. And then they found out that there were sabotage. There were sabotage. Sorry, that was probably too close to the mic. I'm just trying to get excited. There were sabotage and people. I don't know how to say this in a way that won't sound boring. It's a lot of pressure. It's not boring. It's really crazy. I almost cried. They were like, we're going to terraform Mars. You know, obviously we're here. We have to terraform Mars. We can't just die in the desert. So we're breaking ground. We're bulldozing shit. We're cracking the ice caps. But, you know, let's just take our time with it. And then some motherfucker put bioengineered, genetically engineered microorganisms known as Underhill algae into the windmills. And they just put, like, windmills all over the fucking planet. Like, they just floated on the wind, and they dropped off windmills full of algae. Like, randomly all over the planet. The cat's not going back in the bag. Mars has been, soiled. And you know what? My two favorite characters almost died for it, and they didn't even know. They didn't know that they were doing it. And then they get out of this. I thought they were going to die, and then I thought they were going to get blamed for it. Like, people, like, if they die in the storm, everyone could just be like, oh, well, they did it. And they would never be able to stand up for themselves. But luckily, they made it out of the sandstorm, and that's where we left off, part 3. We're starting part 4. I left a lot out, but, you know. You're all doing really great in this class. Thank you. Okay, begin. During the rover trip. Oh, wait. Inside a thick, blinding cloud, she nearly shuffled right into one of the transponders, standing there like a fat fence post. Hey, she shouted. What's wrong? Nothing. I scared myself running into the road mark. You found it. Yeah. She felt her exhaustion run down into her hands and feet. She sat on the ground for a minute and then stood again. It was too cold to sit. Her ghost finger hurt. She took up the nylon line and returned blindly to the dirigible, feeling she had wandered into the ancient myth and was following the only thread out of the labyrinth. During their rover trip south, blind in the flying dust, word came crackling over the radio that UNOMA had just approved and funded the establishment of 3 follow-up colonies. Each would consist of 500 people, all to be from countries not represented in the first 100. And the subcommittee on terraforming had recommended, and the General Assembly approved, a whole package of terraforming efforts, among them the distribution on the surface of genetically engineered microorganisms, GEMS, constructed from parent stock, such as algae, bacteria, or lichens. Arcady laughed for a good 30 seconds. Those bastards, those lucky bastards, they're going to get away with it. Oh, so yeah, now it is world government approved. Mars colonization. Let's go. Part 4. What was part 3 called? The Crucible. Ooh, okay. It all makes sense now, I think. I don't know. Part 4. Homesick. Oh my. Italics. Okay, sorry. Just let me hit my vape like a couple more times. Why is Arcady naked? That's what everybody's gonna ask when they get back. We're glad you're alive, but why is Arcady naked? One winter morning, the sun shines down on Valles Marineris, illuminating the north walls of all the canyons in that great concatenation of canyons. And in that bright light, all day, every day, one can see that every ledge and outcropping is black with a warty surface of lichen. Life adapts, you see. Life adapts, you see. It has only a few needs. Some fuel, some energy. And it is fantastically ingenious. And it is, oh God. This is really hard to read for the first time out loud. And it is fantastically ingenious at extracting these needs from a wide range of environments. Some terran organisms live always below the freezing point of water, others above the boiling point. Some live in high radiation zones, others in intensely salty regions, or within solid rock, or in pitch black, or in extreme dehydration, or without oxygen. All kinds of environments are accommodated by adaptive measures so strange and marvelous they are beyond our capacity to imagine. And so, from the bedrock to high in the atmosphere, life has permeated the earth with the full weave of one great biosphere. All these adaptive abilities are coded and passed along in genes. If the genes mutate, the organisms change. If the genes are altered, the organisms change. Bioengineers use both these forms of change, not only recombinant gene splicing, but also the much older art of selective breeding. Microorganisms are plated, and the fastest growers, or those that exhibit most the trait you want, can be culled and plated again. Mutagens can be added to increase the mutation rate. And in the quick succession of microbial generations, say 10 per day, you can repeat this process until you get something like what you want. Selective breeding is one of the most powerful bioengineering techniques we have. But the newer techniques tend to get the attention. Genetically engineered microorganisms had been on the scene only about half a century when the first 100 arrived on Mars. But half a century in modern science is a long time. Plasmid conjugates had become very sophisticated tools in those years. The array of restriction enzymes for cutting and ligase enzymes for pasting was big and versatile. The ability to line out long DNA strings precisely was there. The accumulated knowledge of genomes was immense and growing exponentially. And used all together, this new biotechnology was allowing all kinds of trait mobilization, promotion, replication, triggered suicide to stop excess success, and so forth. It was possible to find the DNA sequences from an organism that carried the desired characteristic, and then synthesize these DNA messages and cut and paste them into plasmid rings. After that, cells were washed and suspended in a glycerol with the new plasmids and given a short, sharp shock of about 2,000 volts. The plasmids in the glycerol shot into the cells, and voila! There, zapped to life like Frankenstein's monster, was a new organism with new abilities. And so, wait, am I still live? Oh, okay. Thank you for listening so intently. No, okay, fuck. And so, fast-growing lichens, radiation-resistant algae, extreme cold fungi. That's what they called me in college. Extreme cold fungi, halophilic bacteria, eating salt and excreting oxygen, Surarctic mosses, an entire taxonomy of new kinds of life, all partially adapted to the surface of Mars. All out there, having a try at it. Some species went extinct, natural selection. Some prospered, survival of the fittest. Some prospered wildly at the expense of other organisms. And then chemicals in their excretions activated their suicide genes, and they died back until the levels of those chemicals dropped again. So, life adapts to conditions. And at the same time, conditions are changed by life. That is one of the definitions of life. Organism and environment change together in a reciprocal arrangement, as they are two manifestations of an ecology, two parts of a whole. And so, black fuzz on the polar ice, black fuzz on the ragged surfaces of bubbled rock, pale green patches on the ground, bigger grains of frost in the air, animalcules shoving through the depths of the regolith like trillions of tiny moles. Yeah, I'm horrified. I think Anne is like, I think she's gonna. This is trigger warning. I think Anne's gonna activate her. Never mind. I don't know. I don't want to get banned. Some fucking troll out there is gonna report me for saying something. I'm scared. Can I even say that word? Do I have to say unalive like on TikTok? I think Anne's gonna unalive herself. Fuck, dude, she might even, like, go postal. Is 1984 a good book? Yes. What? I think she would fucking blow up something. At first, it was nearly invisible and very slow. With a cold snap or a solar storm, there would be a massive die-off. With a cold snap or a solar storm, there would be massive die-off. Whole species extinct in a night. But the remains of the dead fed other creatures. Conditions were thus easier for them, and the process picked up momentum. Bacteria reproduce quickly, doubling their mass many times a day if the conditions are right. The mathematical possibilities for the speed of their growth are staggering. And although environmental constraints, especially on Mars, keep all actual growth from the mathematical limits, still the new organisms, the aerophytes, quickly reproduced, sometimes mutated, always died. And the new life fed on the compost of their ancestors and reproduced again, lived and died, and the soil and air left behind were different than they were before these millions of brief generations. And so, one morning the sun rises, shooting long rays through the ragged cloud cover. up the length of Valles Marineris. On the north wall, every horizontal face is black and yellow and olive and gray and green, all with the warty surfaces of lichen. Plates of lichen drip down the vertical faces of stone, which stand as they always have, stony and cracked and red, but now mottled as if with lace. Michelle Duval is narrating part 4 of Michelle Duval chapter, Pog. Okay.